I'm Caroline Simpkins, a former ballerina turned researcher, and in today's episode, we are diving into the world of professional ballet, but not the costumes, choreography, or curtain calls. We're talking about mental health, specifically what's happening behind the scenes when it comes to depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and sleep disturbance in professional ballet dancers. Ballet is often celebrated for its beauty, strength, and discipline. But like many elite performance fields, ballet can place extraordinary pressure on the people who pursue it professionally. While injuries, fatigue, and body image have long been studied in dance medicine, there's been relatively little research into mental health problems in this population, especially beyond eating disorders. That's where a recent study comes in. Published in 2023 in the Journal of Dance Medicine and Science, the article is titled Prevalence of Mental Health Problems and Their Potential Association with Sleep Disturbance, Coping Skills, and Social Support in Professional Ballet Dancers. The researchers set out to understand just how common mental health issues are in professional ballet dancers and whether factors like sleep, coping strategies, and perceived social support play a role. The study included 96 professional ballet dancers, 60 females, and 36 males from 3 ballet companies in Germany. Each dancer completed a battery of validated mental health questionnaires as part of their annual pre-season medical screening. These assessments included measures for depression, anxiety, eating disorder risk, sleep disturbance, coping skills, and perceived social support. So, what did the researchers find? About 24% of dancers in this study showed some level of depressive symptoms, ranging from mild to severe. However, only about 3% had moderate to severe symptoms. These numbers are somewhat similar to the general population in Germany, where around 7 to 9% of people report moderate or severe depression in any given year. That said, dancers face unique challenges, constant performance evaluation, injury risk, and career insecurity that can contribute to emotional stress. Anxiety, however, was more pronounced. 34% of dancers had some symptoms of anxiety, and 14% were experiencing moderate to severe anxiety, a rate notably higher than in the general population. Importantly, there was no significant difference between male and female dancers in the rates of depression or anxiety. This is interesting because in most population-level data, females tend to report higher levels of anxiety and depression than males. So these findings suggest that the stressors associated with professional dance may affect both sexes equally. When it comes to eating disorders, the results are also striking, though perhaps not surprising given the emphasis on body aesthetics in ballet. Approximately 10% of dancers screened positive for a likely eating disorder. For context, the prevalence of eating disorders in the general population is estimated to be between 1 to 3%, though it's much higher in aesthetic and weight-sensitive sports. Among the female dancers in this study, more than half were technically underweight according to their body mass index or BMI, and about 1 in 5 were severely underweight. Despite that, a large portion still expressed a desire to lose more weight. This suggests that body image concerns remain deeply ingrained in the culture of professional dance, even among dancers who are already at low or unhealthy weights. It also reflects a disconnect between actual body composition and perceived body image, which is a well-known feature in disordered eating. Now let's shift to sleep, which is both a symptom and contributor to mental health issues. About 2/3 of the dancers in this study had some form of sleep disturbance, and around 19% had moderate or severe sleep issues. Sleep problems were strongly associated with both depression and anxiety, meaning dancers who slept poorly were more likely to report emotional distress. This aligns with broader research across sports and health psychology. Poor sleep impairs mood regulation, decision making, physical recovery, and immune function. In high performance settings like ballet, where dancers are pushing their bodies to the limit, sleep isn't optional, it's essential. The study also looked at coping skills, specifically how dancers handle stress and adversity. The questionnaire assessed cognitive and behavioral coping strategies, including mental toughness, self regulation, and ability to perform under pressure. Ballet dancers who reported stronger coping skills also reported fewer symptoms of anxiety and depression. This suggests that teaching dancers effective stress management techniques could be protective for their mental health. Interestingly, while dancers also reported relatively high levels of perceived social support, this didn't show a strong statistical association with better mental health in this study. That doesn't mean support doesn't matter, but it might mean that the quality and use of support matters more than simply feeling like support is available. It may also reflect a stigma around asking for help, even when support exists. And speaking of stigma, there's another noteworthy finding. While all the ballet dancers with moderate or severe depression recognized a need for therapy, only about a third of those with anxiety or signs of an eating disorder felt the same. This suggests a possible lack of awareness or under-recognition of symptoms related to anxiety and disordered eating, conditions that can be equally debilitating but are often overlooked or minimized, especially in performance-driven environments. So, the overall picture from this study is clear. Mental health concerns are common in professional ballet dancers. While the levels of depression may not be much higher than the general population, anxiety and eating disorder risks appear elevated and sleep problems are widespread. The findings highlight the need for dance organizations to go beyond physical assessments and include mental health screening and support as a standard part of dancer care. So, what are some actionable takeaways? First, mental health education should be built into dancer training programs. This could include workshops on stress management, body image, and sleep hygiene. Second, coping strategies can be trained. Mental skills coaches and sports psychologists can help dancers develop tools to navigate pressure, setbacks, and performance anxiety. Third, reducing stigma around mental health is crucial. Creating a culture where dancers feel safe to ask for help without fear of being judged or sidelined can make a huge difference. And finally, mental health services should be proactively integrated into company health systems, not just offered reactively when someone is in crisis. At the end of the day, ballet is an art form built on control, discipline, and beauty. But the human beings behind the movement are not immune to stress, self-doubt, or emotional struggle. Recognizing that and responding with empathy, education, and evidence-based support isn't just good for dancers' well-being. It's also good for performance, career longevity, and the health of the entire dance community. If you're interested in exploring the research discussed today further, I've included the full citation and a link to the original study in the show notes. Thank you for joining me today for the Ballet Science Podcast. Whether you are a dancer, teacher, student, or simply curious about the mechanics behind movement, I appreciate you being here today. Each week, we'll explore the intersection of science and ballet, from injury prevention and biomechanics to nutrition, mindset, and everything in between. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow this podcast, leave a review, and share it with your friends and dance community. If there are specific topics you'd like to hear about in future episodes, feel free to share them in the comments below. You can also follow Ballet Science on social media and visit our website at ballet.science for additional information. Thank you again for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the Ballet Science Podcast.